Hi guys, good morning and welcome. This is Primus Veku and this is Primus Learning. Welcome to our very first AWS tutorial series. This series is going to be a powerful one. In this series, you'll learn all about AWS cloud computing. We'll start off with the basics and introduction to cloud computing, and we will look at what AWS is all about. We'll first of all start by creating AWS accounts and logging into those accounts. We will give you an overview of how an AWS interface looks and all the services in the AWS platform. We will then drill down to particular services, starting off with IAM, that is Identity and Access Management. This service is a huge one as it gives you access and manages access within the AWS platform. That access could be for users, for services that are created within the AWS platform, or for even applications external to AWS. We will then go into VPCs, or what is called virtual private clouds. These VPCs are created in the AWS space so that you can carve out a network for yourself and create your resources within a particular network that you've defined. So you would look at subnets, private subnets and public subnets, and what all of that means. We will then move on to other services like storage services, including S3. Look at how AWS deals with object storage and how it stores files and manages those files. We'll look at EFS and how you could do a file share within the AWS platform. There are many other storage services that we'll look at. We'll move to databases as well, looking at RDS, relational database services, and all their components, right? And the various databases engine or database engines that AWS currently hosts. We'll deal and manage databases, learn how to connect and create and ensure availability of databases, and of course, failover databases. We will then move to other services within the AWS space like EKS services, like Kubernetes services. We'll learn how to create Kubernetes clusters and manage nodes. We'll learn how to deploy applications to EKS, and of course, as well as ECS. So we'll deal with Docker images, we'll deal with containerization, and so on and so forth. We'll not leave it there. We'll go into other services like machine learning services. If you're a data scientist or a data engineer looking to understand how the AWS platform, this tutorial series is for you. We will also learn how to deploy external applications like Jenkins and so many others, and build CI/CD pipelines, deploying different applications to the AWS platform. And we'll learn how you can become a cloud engineer. By this, you'll be learning how to become a good cloud engineer. We'll be doing this in different ways. First of all, creating resources in the console. We'll create the same resources using the CLI, and also we'll create the same resources using Terraform and CloudFormation. That means we'll give you the best practices and the recommended ways of doing things and how organizations literally work. We'll help you navigate throughout the whole process, and also at the end, help you prepare for interviews. So it'll be a complete series for someone who wants to become an AWS solutions architect or a cloud engineer. So guys, if you're interested in this, stay tuned and subscribe to our channel, hit the notification button so that when we upload the next video, you should be the first person to watch. Thank you so much and see you in our next video. Hi guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this edition of our program. This is the AWS learning series, right? So we're trying to get you a series that helps you to learn AWS, everything about AWS. It will be AWS solutions architecting. It will be
AWS cloud engineering. It will be everything in AWS, guys. So I'll walk you through step by step everything that you need to know to be able to land a job as a solutions architect, to be able to land a job as a cloud engineer within the AWS space, and even as a system administrator within the AWS space. So, guys, I would start with us by helping you create an account in AWS, right? AWS is simply Amazon Web Services, right? So if you want to go to the Amazon Web Services website or to their uh, cloud platform, you need to go to this aws.amazon.com. And guys, this is all about cloud computing, right? And you know that cloud computing is simply the use or the leveraging or the delivery of compute resources through a web browser. That is the definition of cloud computing, guys. So you have your laptop, you have your computer in front of you, and this computer, you can create this computer or call it a server. In AWS, you call it another name, right? So you can create that same container or that same computer, sorry, or that same server that you have in the cloud. In the cloud, in this context, meaning in AWS, in Amazon.com, right? Or in Azure or in GCP, which is Google's cloud platform, right? So you can create that same computer and make it work. You can create different resources. You know about the Google Drive, you know about things like Dropbox and so on. You can create all of those types of resources within the cloud space. And so cloud computing is just the delivery of computing resources. So you see organizations, big companies, they need resources to run their workloads, to run their programs, to install and run their applications, and all the applications like Zoom, like like banking apps that you use and every other thing. All of those are applications that are running on computing resources, on compute resources. And so to have these resources at first, right? At first, organizations used to depend a lot on large servers that they buy from far off places. So the organization will need a lot of money, which is called capital, to first of all buy those huge machines. So take, for instance, a small company like Primus Learning or like Primus Cloud Solutions, that is a startup or that is a small and medium-sized organization. It needs to go to China or to France or to Europe or to America and buy a server for maybe 25,000 or 100,000, which is a big machine, right? You come into its premises, into its offices, install that machine. It will need people who would install the machine. It will need people who do all of the work, the networking, and make sure that the machine is working well and ensure that everything is installed there and it's able to run. That would take like 1 year to get all of that done. And it would take like 25,000, 30,000, and it will pay all those people and even transport it back to where they are, right? To where the company is running from. That has changed. There's a new dynamic. There's a new way of doing computing. This time we call it cloud computing. And that is what you and I will be studying through this series, guys. You and I will walk step by step so that we break down what cloud computing is all about and break down the various services in AWS. We'll be focusing on the Amazon Web Services as a cloud computing platform. There are other cloud computing platforms like the Google platform, which is called GCP, the Google Cloud Platform. There is the Microsoft Cloud Platform, which is called Azure Cloud, right? Which is called Azure. And then there's the Oracle one, which is called Oracle or OCI. There is Alibaba. There are so many cloud platforms out there. How do these cloud platforms, how are these organizations able to offer these computing resources just through a web browser? They are able to do that because they have built large data centers, so much so that they have so many humongous machines in there, robust in terms of security, in terms of everything. So they have everything really built in there, and it is inaccessible to people. It is just, it is so big, so robust, and it's available in all parts of the world. They call them regions. AWS calls these things regions, these data centers and these places regions, and they have divided them further into different things. Some are called availability zones. We will learn about this as we go along. Some are called availability zones, right? You hear about availability zones, and these are simply places that AWS has created infrastructure in, and you can go into AWS therefore and create a small space inside those machines, those large machines for yourself. And that is very secure because you are not creating it inside someone's network. You create your own network and create the resources inside your particular network, right? So we'll be learning these terminologies as we go along. And we'll, of course, create an AWS account just to go over all of this, right? This is going to be fun, guys. So let's just start off with this. Create an AWS account. That's the first thing we'll do. We want to create an AWS account, and then I'll talk you through a couple of things. I'll introduce you to a couple of things that we'll be doing as we go through this video series. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be enlightening. So stay glued, stay tuned, guys, and let's go after it. All right. So the first thing you need to do to have an AWS account is, first of all, you need a Gmail account or a Yahoo Mail account or whatever email account that you need to have. You need to have one. You see, so you need to go to that browser and go to sign in. And then you can see if you have an email address or you have an account already, you can directly log into AWS. But if you don't have an account in AWS, you need to create an account. So let's create an account. You click on create account, and then it will ask you for an email. You see, it requires an email, and that's why you need an email. I initially created an email in Yahoo Mail because I couldn't create in Gmail. I've created a lot in Gmail. So we use this called Primus Learning Test 2 at yahoo.com. So that is what we use for this series. That's the Gmail we want to use to create the AWS account. It will ask for the name you want to choose for this account. We'll call it Primus Learning Series. So this is going to be a series, right? This is going to be an AWS learning series. And so we want to create an account called the the Primus Learning Series. So we'll have to verify. To create an account, AWS will ask you to verify. So let's go ahead and verify. So it sent a code, certain numbers, right? Certain numbers to this email. So I'll need to log into that email and look for that code. So you see that AWS has sent something, and that is the code I'm looking for. So let's scroll down, or maybe it's not even sent the code. Where is the code? We received a request to create a new AWS account using this email address. We could not complete your request because an AWS account is already associated with this email. Okay, right. So there is an account that has been created with this email already. So we'll use a different email. Let's use a different email, guys. Let's use another email. So let's go back. I didn't know that I've created an account with this email. So let's go to create account and use an email called this. Let's, instead of 2, we'll use 3. I think I've not created with that one. And then we'll call it Primus Learning Series. So let's maintain that name and send an email to this. So it sent it, and we'll go back and log into the other account. So we want to add a Yahoo Mail. This thing is Yahoo Mail and not Gmail. I call it Gmail always. So this is 3. We created another one called 3. And we'll try to log into this one. And I think it has the same password, because we're using it just for test purposes. And I will log in. I'll just save this and log in. So what we want to do is verify that email that AWS is asking us to do a verification. So we'll do that. And this one is giving me they want you to set their, I'll just say finish later. All right, so they have sent me something here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember. I used all of these accounts initially to create. I used all of these email accounts, right, to create a test account. I used that already. So what I would quickly do is I will quickly log in, create a new Gmail account. Let's create a new Gmail account. I'll call this Primus Learning, or a new Yahoo account, not Gmail. And I'll call this let's call this what? Let's call this series. And then the Gmail will be Primus Learning Series, the email. Primus Learning Series at yahoo.com. And we'll give it a password. And we'll just make it medium there and give it a date. Just select any date here. And just say maybe 1988, 88, and continue. And then it's asking for a recovery email. The recovery email we use here will be this test3 one, because we have it open there. We can just use it. This phone number doesn't exist. Oh, it's asking for a phone number, sorry. So use my phone number. And we'll go to next. So it sent me a verification code. I'll put that verification code 731195. I think I got it. And then it will let us do our thing. So, okay. So let's go to Gmail. This is the Gmail. So we've created a Gmail account, right? We've created a Gmail account and we are able to do stuff in there. You see, we've created a new Gmail account called Primus Learning Series at yahoo.com. Now let's go back to the AWS place here and say not you, because this email is already used, right? So we want to use a new one. Now we'll say Primus Learning Series at yahoo.com. And then we'll say Primus Learning Series. This is the name we want to use for the series. And it sent us a verification code. Let's go into that account, into the new one that we just created, and get our verification code. This is the verification code right here. So copy this and bring back here and verify that we are indeed the ones who have that email. All right, so it's asking us to give a root password. You want to give a password that you remember, guys. Give it a password that you will remember. So I'm giving a password that I will remember. Okay, I've given a password. I need to then, so that's the next step, right? I'll just save this so that I remember it by just clicking on it. Now, I want to, if you were an organization, a business organization, you select this option. But now we are personal. We just want to use this for our video series or our audio series. So we'll select the personal. That is a personal AWS account we are creating. And then you can provide your address. For my address, I'll pause and fill it out, guys, and then come back to it. So I'll pause and fill it out and also fill my payment information before I get back here. So I'll pause the recording and fill all of that before I get back here. All right, guys, so we're back. So all I did was I filled my address, so that I wanted to shield my address so you don't see it, and I filled also my payment information. So you guys will go ahead and fill your payment information and your address. You will not be charged for doing this activity, just for signing up. We'll help you through to show you how you can do this so that most of your services will be free. All right, so I'll go ahead. They want to verify that it's indeed me. So I hate these numbers here, but what can we do? So I'll just try to put those. I think it's Z, D, Z again. and see if that's accurate. That's accurate. So they will send me a confirmation text. So they've sent me a confirmation text. I'll select the confirmation text, which is 5981. All right. And go to the last step, and they are telling you, asking you to select a plan, right? A support plan. If you maybe if you are an organization and you know that you'll be needing AWS support a lot, you just select one of these plans. But this is a test account. This is just for our demos. So I will select this this here. I will select the basic support. I'll go with that option right here. And congratulations, we have an AWS account, guys. It is live and we are ready to go. So you see, it's been simple. It's been that simple to create an AWS account. So guys, we are ready to go. You see, you just click on go to your account, and then now I can log in. There are two ways to log in. Very important. You have to know this. If you don't know this, you will make mistakes. There are two ways to log in. First of all, we've created a root account, right? Using our email. So there's the root user and there's the IAM user. I don't expect you to know anything about the IAM user yet. We want to use the root user to log in, and we'll have to use the email address that we created, right? That we used to create the AWS account. What was that email address? It was Primus Learning Series. I remember Primus Learning Series, right, at yahoo.com. That is the email we use to create that account. So go to next. And remember, we even saved the password of that Primus Learning Series. I think it's still here. So I'll just go ahead and log in with it. And I'm able to log into my AWS account, guys. So you see, this is the name that we gave, Primus Learning Series. And we have a brand new AWS account to use. This is awesome, guys. This is really awesome. So we've logged into our AWS account. This is a cloud platform right here in front of us. Now, I'll walk you through some things, some services, high level, some services that AWS has, and from there, we'll go right in. So you can see this is the user interface for the AWS platform, and there are different things here, right? You could see that there are a lot of things, right? A lot of services that are running. AWS has nearly every type of computing service that you can imagine, you can think of, right? So you remember I told you that AWS has data centers all over the world in places called regions and also in availability zones. You can already see the regions here. This region is the one that is closest to me, US East 1. And the code name for US East 1 is, or for US East or North Virginia, they usually call it US East or North Virginia. The code name for it is US-East-1. You will have to remember this, US-East-1, because we'll be using this a lot. There is another region in US East Ohio. So that one, the code name is US-East-2. There is another region in US West, which is North California, which is called US-West-1. There's another in Oregon, US-West-2. That's the code name those in Oregon will use. And you can see that there are regions. So if you are closest to this place, you will use this region. If you are closest to this, you will use this region. And you can put your resources in different data centers all over the world, right? You see that those in Mumbai can put theirs in AP-South-1. Those in the Pacific, in Osaka, those in Seoul, those in Singapore, those in Tokyo. There are so many regions. Those in Canada can use CA-Central-1. Those in Europe can use Frankfurt or Ireland or London region or the Paris region or the Stockholm region. And there are different regions. You can see other regions here. There are 12 regions that are not enabled for this account. So this account is not enabled for some regions, right? So you have some other regions here that are not enabled. Tel Aviv, maybe because of the location. It picked up my location as I was creating my account and it didn't enable those regions. But we have regions in every part of the world, guys. So it depends where you are and you're able to create your account and you use resources in that region, right? And you can see recently visited. These are typically resources that you use often, and then they show up here. But if you go here, you see that AWS has all services. You can click on all services and you see all the services that AWS offers. Look at compute. Compute is just the compute power, the power to process things, right? You see AWS has so many services just for compute. One EC2 in EC2. You call them EC2 instances. Elastic Compute Cloud. The name EC2 comes from Elastic Compute Cloud because there are two C's. It just says E, which is elastic, and then two C's and two. That's why I put that two in front of it, right? And then it has, so you can use this. These are servers. You can create servers and instances and machines. These are servers, or call them laptops or machines or whatever, right? These are compute servers that you create. And then you have Lightsail, you have Lambdas, you have Batch, you have Elastic Beanstalk, serverless application repositories, Outposts, Image Builder, App Runner, and the SimSpace Wheel. So many services just for compute. Look at machine learning. If you are in the machine learning space, look at all the services that AWS offers for machine learning. It offers Amazon SageMaker. This is an environment that you can use to create things like notebooks, like Jupyter notebooks, and run your machine learning workloads, right? And Amazon Augmented AI, Amazon Code Guru, Amazon DevOps Guru, Amazon Comprehend. So many things here. Text track, recognition for facial recognition and so on. Transcribe. You can use this service to transcribe audios to videos to audios, or videos to text and things like that. Translate. You can translate things in different languages. Deep Compose, you can use it to compose music. Deep Razor, there are so many things here, guys, in the machine learning module right here. See, you have containers for those who run containers for applications, right? You know about Docker containers and different types of containers. You have different services that you could use for containerized applications. So you have Elastic Container Registry, which is like Docker Hub, right? And then you have Elastic Container Service, you have Elastic Kubernetes Service, which is a Kubernetes engine for AWS. You have others like in GCP, I think it's called the Google Kubernetes Engine, GKE. And then you have it in Azure. And then you also have the Red Hat OpenShift service. These are services in the containers domain. Look at storage. It has so many. It's S3. It's just like a drive storage, right? This is S3. It's for object storage. You can store your things in there. This is EFS. EFS is file share system. You can store your files in there and share with other users. FSX, S3 Glacier, Storage Gateway, AWS Backup, Elastic Discovery, Elastic Disaster Recovery, and databases. So you have different types of databases as well. Relational database services. So with this, you can have different types of databases like Oracle, like Microsoft SQL Server, like MySQL, like MariaDB, and so on and so forth. And then you have Elasticache, you have Neptune, you have Amazon QLDB, you have Amazon Document DB, Amazon Keyspaces, DynamoDB, TimeStream, and so many other services that it offers within these services. And then it has analytics services. So if you are in the business intelligence world, or you are in the data analytics world, these are services that you can leverage in the AWS space. You have Athena, which offers a query type of environment that you can use to query your data. So you can actually store your data in one of those storage services up there and use Athena to query that data. Guys, this is huge. This is large. So you have Athena, you have Amazon Redshift, which is basically a data warehouse solution that AWS offers, and it is a one of its kind data warehouse solution. It's robust. It has columnar parallel processing of data. You could use it to process large, humongous data sets. You have Cloud Search, you have Amazon Open Search, you have Kinesis for for types of data that are fast. You want to access data, immediate real-time data. You can use Kinesis and or streaming data. QuickSight that you could also use for this is AWS analytics tool. Like you have Power BI, like you have Tableau. This is QuickSight is AWS own. You could build data pipelines as well as you could build data lakes, right? Using lake formation and MSK for Kafka workloads. There's AWS Glue and Data Brew, Amazon FinSpace, AWS Glue, so many services, guys. EMR. This is you can use EMR for Elastic Map, reduce workloads, right? You want to run Spark and process humongous big data sets, right? Big data. This is all about big data. If you have large data sets and you want to process it using a large compute system or really optimized compute systems, EMR is that service that you go to. And there are others, right? All of these fall under the analytics section. Then you have the migration section, right? The migration section, moving data from one place to another, moving data from on-premise environments to databases in AWS, for instance, or moving data from one cloud platform to AWS, or from one region to another. AWS offers you all the services that you need to do this type of workload, guys. This is huge. You see, so it has the AWS Migration Hub where you go in and you can do migration workloads. You can really do migration. It has AWS application migration, where you can migrate applications like servers from on-premises or from anywhere to the cloud space. You have application discovery services, where you can use to discover the applications that are in your system before migration. So it will help you take an inventory of what is running in your systems before you do the migration. Then you have the database migration service, which would help you with relational database migration. So you can migrate in what you call homogeneous migration. That is moving one type of database to that same type of database engine in the cloud. So you can move Oracle, an Oracle database to an Oracle database engine in AWS. You can move a Microsoft SQL Server database to a Microsoft SQL Server database in AWS. It also provides you the capability to do a heterogeneous type of migration, which is that type of migration where you move data from maybe an Oracle database to a Microsoft SQL Server. It has a schema conversion tool within it that you could leverage to do that type of migration. So a heterogeneous migration, as you know, is that migration that you're doing from a different type of database engine to another type of relational database engine, right? So in that case, we could give the example of MySQL to maybe MariaDB or to maybe Oracle and so on and so forth. There, AWS even offers you a schema conversion tool so that you can convert your schemas and make them compatible. There's the AWS transfer family, and you have different types of transfer tools where you can transfer data from your local environment to your AWS environment, guys. You can use the Snowball tool. You could use the Snow family. I think there are different services that AWS offers. There's some that is a snowmobile. It's like a huge truck that you could go in and literally plug your data from your data center, and AWS will move that truck to your to the platform, to its environment, and literally upload that data to your cloud platform, right? So this is huge. You have AWS Snow family, you have the data sync, you have the AWS mainframe modernization for mainframe workloads like Cobalt and so on, guys. So this right here is the migration and transfer services. Then you have the networking services. Remember, I told you guys that within the cloud space, you can carve out a network for yourself. You create a network for yourself and use that network to create your resources inside. It's like you have your Wi-Fi in your house, right? Nobody who doesn't have access to your Wi-Fi, to your username and your password, can access your network. Nobody will be able to install a TV or use your network in your TV, use your network in their TV if you don't grant them access. It is the same type of concept here where you create a virtual private cloud for yourself, and all the other resources that you'll be creating in the AWS space will be secured inside. You create, and you can even go down to different levels, right? Create public subnet and private subnet. You will hear these terms and will learn what they mean, all of them, guys. So you have Route 53, which is dealing with DNS. So AWS is also a domain provider. You could buy a domain name from AWS, right? Just through Route 53 and even configure it and make it to work. You have name servers and everything right here. And then you have API gateway where you can make API calls. For those who know about API calls, you can make Lambda calls, you could make get calls, delete, push, or delete post, and so on and so forth. You can use API gateway for that. You have direct connect, where you can connect your networking, your local VPN systems or your local network in your environment to AWS for quicker access of information, right, or of data flow. AWS App March, Global Accelerator, AWS Cloud Map, Route 53 Application Recovery Controller, and AWS Private 5G. It has all of these services under the networking component, or the networking and content delivery module down there. Then you have the security and identity and compliance. This is all about security, guys. Imagine it has all of these tools that help you ensure that your account is safe, that your infrastructure is safe, that your data is safe, that your applications are safe, that everything that you're doing within the cloud space is safe, guys. So this right here is humongous. It's huge. These are the security, the identity and compliance tools and services that AWS offers. You have Resource Access Manager, Cognito, Secrets Manager, where you store all secrets. It's like Vault, where you store your usernames, your access keys, your credentials, your secrets, and everything for your databases. All those things that are secrets, and you want to safely store them somewhere. This is where you store them. Guard Duty, which would go and look at your account and say, hey, these are the things you need to improve on. Hey, this thing is not correctly set up. There is traffic going in here. This is not good. So it finds issues for you. AWS Inspector also finds things in your account. AWS Macie, IAM, the Identity Center. So IAM is identity access management, or identity and access management. This is really huge. This is a topic that we'll actually start with. It is as mighty as you can imagine, guys. This service right here will help people have access to your AWS account, will help people, be able to access depending on the access level that you're granting them. Remember when we're creating that account and we saw one of the user to log into the AWS account, we saw one of the users called IAM user, that you will be creating those users using this service called IAM, guys. So the IAM Identity Center is a service that you can use to create many and manage many AWS accounts and all that. Then the Certificate Manager, you see, for instance, you see that this website is an HTTPS website. It is secured. You could use this service to get certificates and secure your website. And then you have Key Management Service, where you create keys to encrypt your data, right? So it's all about data encryption. You can encrypt data that is at rest. You can even encrypt data that is moving. So data in transit, you encrypt data that is in transit, and you encrypt data that is at rest, right? So when that data is actually stored, you could use those key management services to create them. This is also where you can create keys. Directory services, like creating users and managing users using directory services like you do in Active Directory. Most of you know about Active Directory. This WAF and Shield is all about protecting your account, firewalls, guarding your account to make sure that people don't and bad actors do not have access to your account. AWS Artifact Detective. This is like a detective service that is there to watch your account and see and detect any issue that can arise. AWS Signer and so on. AWS Security hub. This is like a hub where all security things are happening. And then this is the IAM service, sorry, that I was talking about. This one is the IAM service. The other one is a new service up there that came out. AWS payment cryptography is one that you could use for encryption, right, as well. Create cryptographic keys to use to encrypt things as far as payment gateways and payment applications are concerned. And then you have customer enablement. You have AWS IQ, where you could query and ask questions, manage services, activate for startups. This is a service that you can actually apply to get credits to use within AWS. I have had credit, I think 1,000 credit from AWS. Kudos to AWS for giving us that credit. We applied for it and we used it to do our demos, to create our basic things in Primus Learning for us, a startup company. Hey, we're looking for that 100,000 credit AWS if you're watching us. So we're excited if you guys can give us that credit. So guys, this is really huge. They also offer the support services. So this is the customer enablement service right here. You have the cloud financial management services, where you have billing and cost management to see how your AWS account is doing in terms of cost and all that. Robotics. It's all about robotics. For those who know who are building robots and so on, they can connect these to some robotic tools out there. They can build a service here, connect, and make those robots work, right? Front end web and mobile. So even for web developers, front end and back end developers, you guys are all covered within the AWS space. So AWS Amplify is a service that you could use for deployment of applications. You don't need to worry about the infrastructure behind it, guys. You only worry about your code running. You have Amplify, your apps can already run. And AWS AppSync works very well with Amplify, and you can deal with resolvers and you can deal with all of your data. And Device Farm and Amazon Location Services, these are like GPS type of services that you could use for your applications. And then you have blockchain applications, Amazon Managed Blockchain. You could use this for blockchain services, create blockchain services for those who are interested in blockchain. And satellite solutions. So even for those who are in NASA, those who are studying geophysics or geophysicists and so on. So if you're studying geophysics or you're studying geography and all those things, and you want to learn or play around ground station areas for space type of workloads, you can definitely do that. Quantum technologies, Amazon Bracket, it offers this. And for those who are dealing in quantum technologies, you have a service as well. Application integration. This deals with things like step functions, where you can run events that occur, right? So step functions can help you with that. Amazon Appflow, Amazon MQ, and simple notification services for notifications. Simple queue services or email servicing is like an email service for AWS, while this is a simple simple SMS type of notification that you can leverage on AWS. Managed Apache Airflow. It also has Apache Airflow, a managed instance of Apache that you can create and use Apache Airflow for those who are dealing with data pipelines, right? Those who deal with pipelines in general, DevOps types of pipelines. Could have Airflow pipelines and DAGs. You're creating DAGs and your environment and running your code in there. Apache Airflow has it for you. Amazon Event Bridge and Amazon B2B data interchange, all of these fall within the application integration services. And then you have management and governance. These are all services that you could use to manage your AWS account, to manage your applications. So you have AWS organizations. You can create as many AWS accounts as possible and manage them for an organization. CloudWatch is all about monitoring, logging, being able to monitor your AWS services, your various services that are running, your AWS account, and monitor and make sure that you have logs of everything. If anything is failing, if there is something that is wrong, you can catch it right with CloudWatch. Auto scaling is a service that can help you automatically scale up, for instance, when there's a lot of traffic in your application, or scale down when there's no traffic in your application. So it helps you balance your load, the workload that you have and not waste resources, right? So you don't want to be wasting resources. As the resources increase, auto scaling will automatically kick in and increase the compute resources that you need, or whatever resources you need. And when there's no one using, it scales down. CloudFormation is a tool that is used for code, for infrastructure development, right? For infrastructure creation. So like Terraform, it's something like Terraform. Infrastructure as code is an infrastructure as code tool that is used within the AWS space. This is native to AWS. So you use CloudFormation, you can use CloudFormation to create resources in AWS as well. AWS config, you can use it to manage resources in your account, such as just query resources and ensure that you have a list. You can export a list of all the resources that are running in your account using that. OpsWork is a neat tool that you could also use. OpsWork has been used a lot when it comes to cookbooks, Chef and Puppet, and all those configuration management tools. And then service catalog, systems manager. All these are beautiful. This service right here is very useful within the AWS space. You can use it to automate so many things in your account. Control Tower, Trusted Advisor, it just advises you on what to do to improve your account health, and all of so many resources here, guys. You see, it even offers Prometheus that you could use, Grafana and Prometheus that you could use for monitoring and logging. These are open source tools that are available in AWS, CloudTrail, and all these other services. And then end user computing. It has workspaces that you could use, like laptops that you could literally use, create them in no time. AppStream, you could use them and create them like remote machines. These are remote machines, workspaces. They are remote machines, just as you have Windows workspaces, right? Windows remote machines, you can create them in the AWS space using workspaces or AppStream, as well as these other ones. And then you have IoT devices for those who are dealing in Internet of Things, those who are dealing in IoT devices, guys. You have all these services you can play around with and learn what they're all about, right? So many of these services. And then gaming, even for those who are creating mobile devices or gaming devices, sorry, you have Amazon Game Lift that can help you. And then for media services, for those who are dealing with streaming of things, right? You have Kinesis video streams, you have Media Converge, you can use to convert media as it is streaming. You have Media Live, which you can do media live coverage, and so many other packages down here, guys. And Media Connect, that you can use to connect your media services. There are so many services, Elastic Transcoder and others. So guys, this is the number of, you can see the number of services that AWS has. A lot of services just within here. A lot of services. So when it comes to computing, AWS has it all. It's built a robust environment, and it can provide services literally for any company anywhere in the world, no matter your size, because it literally provides services for nearly all the big boys around, right? So this is how the AWS services look, and this platform is simple, right? It's this simple, and you can log in and create your account as we did, and we will start studying each of these services. We'll go through so many of these services, the needed ones, the ones that you can use to actually land yourself a job. AWS, there's so many companies who need people who understand these services and can leverage them to help organizations, get their things going, to help organizations manage their infrastructure, to help organizations deal with data, to help organizations protect their data, to help organizations deploy their applications, and so on and so forth. So through this series, guys, we will be going through most of the services. We will learn in different ways how to create those services from the console. We will also learn how to create them from the CLI, so through the command line. I will also learn how to provision them through Terraform. Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool. So the same resource that we'll create from the console, we'll use the CLI to create that same resource, and we'll also use Terraform to create that same resource. Sometimes we'll even use CloudFormation to create that same resource. So you see how different people work in different environments, and how you could use maybe code or better ways, recommended ways that you could use to do the same things but to achieve the same result. Some others will be the recommended ones, while others would be those that you can quickly use to resolve issues, you could quickly use to make, to work and to achieve your work, guys. So stay tuned on this series. It's going to be an interesting series, guys. Trust me, you are going to love this. You're going to learn, and do not hesitate to leave us those comments. Do not hesitate to drop us those follow. Hit on our follow buttons, hit on our notification button, so that as we upload videos into this video series, you are aware of it and you can go ahead and watch, guys. So please share our videos and help us promote the channel so that we grow together and help each other, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. We'll talk again in the next video when we'll be introducing IAM, how IAM works, and so on and so forth. Thanks, guys, and see you again. Bye-bye.